hole at our school. Our master's schedule was completely blown up in the summer and had to be, there's all these holes. Kids are not in the right classes. Classes are completely like balanced. Like I have one core that has just 20 something students and my other classes are huge. I have kids in 6th grade that are like bouncing from one core to the other. And then, there's just a whole bunch of issues.
Thank you.
And things that have happened because of that reassignment. So don't do that again, please.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Contreras. I'm Angelica Flores. I'm a school counselor at Cesar Chavez Middle School. On behalf of the middle school counseling team, we would like to extend an invitation for all of you to visit our campuses to see what it is what we middle school counselors do. We don't think you understand what we do. Our middle school counseling team is unique in that we are the only group responsible for delivering support across all 3 essential domains: the academic, the social and emotional, and college and career readiness. This demands not only extensive training and experience, but also the agility to navigate complex real-time challenges that both our students and our families face. Just this week at our school, at Cesar Chavez, just this week, we had to do, unexpected last-minute displacement of our teachers. We created significant scheduling challenges directly affecting the ability to meet students' academic needs. In addition, this week, we've already made 3 MERDI phone calls, 2 today. Without the help of my counterpart, it would have not been possible. While one was making the phone calls, the other one was safely responding to the student. The student was immediate danger to himself and potential harm to others. By us tag teaming, we were able to help the student not elope and putting themselves at even greater risk. While we value our community partners, they have, however, limited in their support, often only be able to assist students on their very small caseloads, which is probably between 8 to 10 students. In contrast, the 500 plus students to 1 counselor ratio that the district is proposing, relying solely on community partners in place of fully staffed counseling team is not a viable solution for addressing the high demands and intensity of our student needs. We sincerely hope that you take the opportunity to come and visit us, seeing the scope of the work that we do.
Hello, my name is Noelle Brand. I'm a teacher at Cesar Chavez Middle School. I'm also a parent at Mar Vista Elementary. I wanted to talk about the loss of Coach Dimitrovich from our campus, our special education program, and the proposed counselor cuts. We lost a really impactful PE teacher. Our PE classes are completely maxed out at 50 kids per class. We have students placed in dance because they do not have room to meet their PE requirement. We had to remake our entire master's schedule a few weeks before our school started. That's our entire admin reshuffling every single student in every single class. We have English language learners that are not placed in ELD because they need to have the PE requirement. So how are we helping our English language learners grow in their knowledge? We have a special education teacher that is moderate to severe, and she is split between 2 sites. These are our most vulnerable kids. I have kids pushed into my class with no aid. I have kids that have a hard time reading, and then I have 35 total. It is unfair to them, and it's not plausible, it's not, for me, sustainable to make sure that they're getting what they need while every other student in my class is as well. I also wanted to talk about our proposed counselor cuts. This means we have 1 counselor for 495 students. That counselor tracks and creates a schedule for every student. They track 170 8th graders in the requirements for graduation. They place social and emotional needs for counseling. They're deeply linked to our MTSS process, which is delicate. They meet with parents. They had to work extra to clean up the master schedule, and that's just the tip of the iceberg for them. There's so much more they do, and losing that, truly losing that, hurts our students without question. And I also want to remind the board and the superintendent and all kind of the higher ups, your staff are also your parents. I am a PVUSD parent. And her teachers, my daughter's teachers, and myself and my colleagues, we pour our hearts out every day. We're on the floor for you every day, loving our kids. And it's hard to know that you're treating us without integrity and respect. And be quite honest, I don't want my child in a district where her teachers are not treated in the way they deserve, because that means she is not treated in the way she is deserving.
Thank you.
We are more than numbers.
Good evening. I'm Carrie Goodwin, a school counselor, social emotional counselor at Mar Vista. There's so much I could say about school counseling, my profession, my passion. I've chosen a couple of comments only. How do you know if you can trust someone? It's not by their job title. It's through, sorry, I was trying not to have to. It's through relationship, and it's over time. We school counselors have earned the trust of our students, families, and staff over time with a stable investment in relationship. Effective School Solutions states they are entering schools as a supplement to school counselors. This is very different than supplanting, which is what things are appearing to be unfolding here. And that is dangerous. I encourage you to read reviews about Effective School Solutions. On Indeed and Glassdoor, I noticed a theme. Comments from employees noting two main things. One, the difficulty they had navigating within school systems. And you know who is really good at navigating within school systems is school counselors. And two, the feeling that their organization was more concerned with keeping their paid contracts with the districts than with doing right by students. I also noticed in their wellness coach job description the statement, quote, identify potential risks and refer to on-site PPS professionals. For those who don't know, PPS is the name of the credential school counselors hold. Please prioritize credentialed school counselors so we can get off this roller coaster and return to our primary focus of students' social, emotional well-being, academic achievement, and college and career goals. This, along with our unwavering professional commitment to continued improvement and development of best practices. Thank you for listening.
Last up, we have Marilyn Garrett for 7-1. Oh, never mind. Sorry. Got a few more. Chris Webb, Thad Bishop, Wendy San Juan, Mara Belayich, Omar Diegues, and Christina Souza. Got them.
I want to begin by thanking the Watsonville High admin and staff for a great welcome back. This was like, Dr. Navarro, you were there on the first day of the spring semester at Renaissance, and I think you saw like the littlest piece of like what a hostile environment could look like. And the same, like a year or two before that, I had somebody in my family die, and I missed like the first day back, and the first thing I heard from that same person was, oh, who died? Not like welcome back or anything, who died? And then like when I gave my answer, oh, well, they're not covered, so that'll be a PN day. So it's been really nice to have like humanity at Watsonville High. And then I'm also super thankful, Mariah, like you said, one thing that I really appreciate about her is last year I had requested with some of my social studies money, let me get some deodorants, because there was an issue with the student, right? And this student was not being treated well. And also it was a minority student. And I was denied, and that student would continue to be bullied. And then he eventually wasn't with the school anymore. So I thank Mariah for helping us keep students here. Also, some of these comments that have been coming kind of weird me out. They remind me of like, I feel like if we're 200 years ago, certain people would be preaching the Bible in oppressive ways. And for my part, I want to take a page from the most honorable members of our Jewish community here and say, for my part, as a Love Thy Neighbor Christian, I've found some of the comments that have been coming at the last few meetings paternalistic and rather disrespectful of our community. And I want the students to know that their experiences do matter, and that when we're making our best decisions, when you and your voices are at the forefront, and like it shouldn't just be that adults decide for you. You should weigh in on these things, and we will make better decisions if that happens. Also, I just want to say, follow up my last meeting, When the UCSC people came, there was 12 pesticides tested for, all not present. So, and 2 that I was particularly concerned about, chromium-6 and 1,3-dichloropropene, not present. So thank you.
Good evening, board. Good evening, Superintendent Contreras and officers. My name is Thad Bishop, and I'm one of the PE teachers at Cesar Chavez Middle School. I am here tonight to express my disappointment in the decisions that were made over dropping enrollment and lack of money in our district. As we all know, large classes equal less learning, less connections with students, less help for students who need it the most. Large classes have more behavior problems, more bullying problems, more disengaged students, more defiance. I think we all agree on this. I just lost my colleague, Martin Domitrovich, to Rolling Hills Middle School. They needed a PE teacher, so he was moved. All the hard work of connecting to students and parents at our middle school was lost. He has to start over at a new school. I am retiring at the end of this year. It would have made a better choice. It would have been a better choice for him to stay and take my spot next year. I know that in PE classes, we can have up to 50 kids in a class. I'm right now under 50 in all my classes. I have 12 students with special needs in one of my classes. I do have aides, and they will get adaptive PE, but only a couple of times a week. The timing of when my colleague and I found out that he was leaving was way too late. We found out about the middle of June. My admin has been trying to do their best with evening out the classes, but there is only so much they can do. I asked to teach on my prep to lower the sizes of my classes, but was denied by the district. On to the counselors. We need as many as possible. 1 per school is not enough. Suicide does happen along with much more. We need them in our schools to help students. Thank you very much.
Hello, board, everyone present here, Dr. Contreras. My name is Wendy San Juan, and I've been a counselor in this district for 20 years. I've been at the high school, I've been at the middle school, and I also have leadership organizational skills. Currently, we have 3 middle schools without a second counselor. Dr. Contreras, you recently sent out an email to people saying, due to late counselor resignations, these positions are on a hold as we explore enrollment. But the truth is, back in January of 2025, you all already knew one of our largest middle schools was without a counselor and why that position was open. Yet students went without support until an intern was brought in. That vacancy should have been a top priority, but it wasn't. And again, in June, when a school counselor moved into an AP position for this year, the district had ample time to plan, collaborate with our union, and to talk to us about a restructure as needed. Instead, uncertainty lingered. With only 24 hours before we started our contract this year, counselors were met with instability and stress as our welcome back. No one deserves to be welcomed that way, least of all the people entrusted with caring for our students' well-being. I strongly urge this board to do your due diligence, visit our sites, as my colleague mentioned, witness firsthand what counselors do and how pivotal these middle school years are. Students at this age face academic pressures, identity challenges, and mental health challenges all at once. Keep all school counselors at 2 at the middle school and no supplanting services.
Good evening. My name is Christina Souza, and I am a social emotional counselor at Aptos High School. Thank you for hearing me tonight. Our counselors are people who have dedicated their careers, lives to support our youth. I choose to believe that everyone in this room is here because we care about our youth and we want them to succeed and thrive. Tonight, my hope is that those who have taken the time to be here instead of their other obligations will be heard with an open mind and an open heart. Our counselors hold a wealth of knowledge and experience about what it takes to support our students in their academic, career, college, and very importantly, their social and emotional journeys while they are with us at Pvusd. Many of us in counseling had barriers to our own education that led to this calling. Personally, I only met with my school counselor once. Due to circumstances in my life, I wasn't able to engage in school, and I didn't even think to consider going to a trusted adult for help. I ended up dropping out. Today, our counselors do their very best with high numbers of students to connect with their students, remind them to find their trusted adults on campus and connect to resources and discuss strategies and solutions to what challenges may arise on their way. Counselors should not be replaced, supplanted. Effective school solutions staff cannot compare to the education and experience of our counselors. Thank you.
Members of the board, my name is Marta Belaich. During your June 11th board meeting this year, a number of Brown Act violations occurred. In accordance with state law, on July 11th, I served you with a demand letter to cure and correct the violations. Under state law, you had 30 days to respond with proposed remedies. You have provided no response. By state law, your silence is a refusal to cure and correct. One of the many violations was that your attorney misstated the law in public session. Whether by incompetence or intent, he told you that roll call voting was not statutorily required when a trustee participated by teleconference. That is flatly false. The Brown Act is explicit. When any trustee participates remotely, all votes must be by roll call. After my July 11th letter, you implicitly conceded the attorney was wrong by quietly instituting roll call voting. But that is only prospective compliance. It does not cure the unlawful actions already taken and does not ensure the public that you won't willfully disregard the Brown Act again. The Pvusd is an entity that exists by public funding and authority. With the privilege of those resources, there is a responsibility to adhere to a governing procedure to uphold and promote the public interest. Olivia Flores and Misty Navarro constitute the current leadership of the board. You two had the dominant obligation and responsibility to guide responsive resolution of the issue within the statutory timeline. You chose not to do so. And in doing so, you have revealed your regard for the vital public interest issue of transparency and disclosure. I have to wonder if you even realize what you have done. Thank you.
Mr. Salinas Holtz, congratulations on your position. It's an honor to have you on the school board. I know you'll do great things. Looking forward to working with you. Stand up for what you believe in. Live out your dream. Bring the issues that are important to the school board and make a change. You have a lot of power. Don't ever forget that. Spray Days is an app. Spray Days notifies you every single time there are pesticides being sprayed near our schools. You punch in the address and it'll notify you every single time. Aloni School, I signed up for this app. Aloni School, just this month, I signed up at the end of July. Just this month, over 35 times have pesticides been sprayed near that school. That's alarming. We need to do something to protect our students against pesticides. It's a real thing. The other thing I want to address is, in my opinion, the most important person and the most important thing that you guys have heard so far tonight is this student right here speaking about the importance of counselors, speaking about her experience. Thank you for your courage for speaking up. If that does not worry you, there's something wrong with you. You don't belong on this board. You know? She is an expert. She has lived it. She is going through it. We need to listen to our youth. We need to protect our counselors. We need to protect our mentors that make a change in this community, that are out there in the streets on the weekends at all hours of the day, communicating with these students, building the relationships, and getting to know our community. We need to listen to them.
Are there any other speakers? Marilyn? Is she here? Oh.
Pesticide toxicity is a huge problem. These pesticide corporations should be banned, and we should mandate ecological organic agriculture. Also, the lithium-ion battery storage facilities proposed for Santa Cruz County need to be banned. I'm going to read from Never Again Moss Landing Fire. Stop the 3 lithium-ion battery storage facilities proposed for Santa Cruz County. The 3 locations are behind Dominican Hospital, next to Aptos High, or Aptos High, and 90 Minto Road, Watsonville. Thousands of people in Santa Cruz and Monterey counties are ill from the toxic air released during the world's largest lithium-ion battery fire on January 16, 2025, at the Moss Landing Battery Storage Facility. If you have burning eyes, metallic taste, sore throat, cough, nausea, burning tongue, rash, difficulty breathing, headaches, exhaustion, and more, you may have been poisoned by the fire. I think we've all been poisoned. How could we not be? Contact the Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors. Tell them to ban these lithium-ion battery storage facilities in our communities. Phone 454-2200 or contact the Board of Supervisors at Santa Cruz County, ca.gov. I have this bilingually, and I call on this board to contact the Board of Supervisors and call for a ban on these proposed sites. There's no way they can be made safe. And we're reading almost daily of lithium-ion battery fires. Even the county put out their zero waste brochure, and it says prevent battery fires, and it shows this melted down recycle container because of the batteries that were put in.
That's your time. Thank you.
That's small, so please do that. Thank you.
Last up, we have Carolyn West. If anyone else submitted a card, please let it be known.
Hi, I'm one of your school nurses. Hello, superintendent and trustees. I do have something for you to read. It's not a quiz. So we're formally submitting this to the board so that you know that we do have concerns. I'm not sure if you're aware, but 15% of our students have medications in the health office, 15% across the district. 21% of our students wear glasses. Right now, our students, there's 1,210 healthcare plans, so that's 151 care plans that need to be written by nurse. Nursing referrals, where we've been asked to follow up on a student, 565, that's 70.6 per nurse. 23% of our students have either asthma or some type of respiratory condition. 532 of our students are at risk for anaphylaxis, so that's a life-threatening allergy, food, bees, nuts, things like that. I could go on. We have 560 students that have seizure disorders. It's a lot. Heart conditions. We have almost 400 kids with heart conditions. And that's not keeping in mind that we're still working our way through registration, through the information that parents give us and following up with them. The number that I got for diabetes, I don't think is correct. It said 105, but this is just an estimate. So I really hope you take a look at what I've given you. I'm really worried that our district is going to face liability if we're spread so thin.
Thank you.
And the FICMAT numbers are not realistic. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public comment section. And I will now move us on to item 8.1. This is our employee organizations comments. Each organization will have 5 minutes, and we will start with PVFT.
Okay. Brandon Denise, president of the Pajaro Valley Federation of Teachers. I'd like to start off by welcoming Desi to the school board and encourage you to be courageous and use your voice to represent your peers. I worked with your mom back in the day at Lakeview, and I remember her talking about your Taekwondo lessons and your theater productions. And at that time, I was like, this kid is going places, and here you are. I also want to congratulate all of our members for making it through a rocky start to the school year. Despite the chaos and gridlock rippling out of the towers and sending shockwaves into each of our classrooms, we are going to keep showing up and giving our students our best. It's going to be a big year for us in the PVFT because we're here to fight for our rights and our working conditions, because our working conditions are our students' learning conditions. We just had our first site rep council meeting of the year on Monday, where we had over 60 educators present, all organizing for the schools that our students deserve. We also have our general membership meeting coming up on September the 15th, and all of our members are welcome to join. Think of all the memberships that we all have: Netflix, Hulu, maybe a gym that we stopped going to. Becoming a member in the union is unique because we are the only organization that cares about your health benefits and your salary, and you have the opportunity to participate and shape our policy. So if you're out there, join a union. What I see in our national politics, our school board politics, and even in the ways in which we interact with each other is it feels like society is just teetering on the edge. We're all so busy fighting that we're failing to stop the federal administration and this district's leadership from manufacturing the consent needed to implement an agenda, a regressive agenda, where austerity and the consolidation of power are the ultimate goals. If you question the premise of the system in a 30-second soundbite, you sound like a madman. But that limited interlude is all you need to defend the status quo. This summer and the first week back have felt like an assault on our rights, including our rehire rights, our contractual rights, and our rights to negotiate the impacts to our workload. Our workload has significantly been impacted by our district's failure to plan and the fact that we are all too busy fighting with each other to work towards a solution together. For the first time in my recollection, the pride flag is no longer being flown at Aptos High School. Why are we so scared of Trump that we're lacking the courage to fly a pride flag at a site that has experienced such hatred and hurtful behavior, like a pride flag being burned on campus? Aptos High School also hasn't hired the mental health clinician who is supposed to support the SRO. Are we going to hold the district accountable to make sure that we get a mental health clinician in there as fast as we can? Or is this consent being manufactured? Our administrators were directed to enroll as many students as possible, to overload our classes, and that our district would figure it out when they see the whites of the students' eyes. This failure to plan is a direct violation of the language that we have in our contract class size article, and we have already filed a grievance on behalf of the 14 sites with substantial class overages. PE classrooms with 58 students, kinder classrooms with 29 students, and more students who need adapted physical education than our district can provide with our current staff. Thad mentioned the students at Cesar Chavez Middle School. Those students are currently uncovered because we don't have the staffing to support them. And instead of hiring the additional 0.3 staff that we actually lost 2 over the summer, we didn't replace them because that's our current MO. And so now we have 13 students at Cesar Chavez with no case manager, and the district would rather sell those kids for $16 a head to somebody to go over their caseload than to hire and staff with what our students need. This district is committing an unfair labor practice by eliminating positions such as our counselors, nurses, and program specialists. These positions are permanent and they are not tied to enrollment. They are not negotiated to staff and student ratios or ed code or the sad state averages and the whims of a district administration that is panicking due to their own false narrative of a budget crisis. These positions should be staffed based on our past practice and the commitment we made to our community. When you allow a superintendent to be the sole determining factor in how we staff our schools, you are committing an unfair labor practice, and you can expect a grievance followed by a lawsuit to the Public Employee Relations Board as early as next week. Our largest middle school of over 600 students only has one counselor, and that counselor was told not to do any social emotional counseling because the district is outsourcing that work to PVPSA. I'm happy to see that Effective School Solutions was pulled. Don't bring it back. This supplanting of our work by an outside agency is another unfair labor practice, and we are preparing to file. Where is the accountability? The unprecedented summer resignations, that's a myth. I've been here longer than our current administration, so please don't gaslight us. We are prepared to fight for every one of our students and every one of our members. And you would think that how hard we fought during layoffs, that you would learn not to fight with us and work with us, because we can work together. But for that to happen, we demand respect and we demand trust.
Thank you. Do we have anyone from CSEA? No? Okay, reminder about their car show. Anyone from CWA? Okay. Yes.
Whatever you want, just tell us now.
Thank you.
Check,
This
check,
is
check.
8.3 CWA. Thank you.
Is this on? All right, good evening, Board of Trustees, Dr. Contreras, Vice President Dr. Navarro, and President Flores. My name is Mike Flora. I'm here representing CWA, the union that represents our substitutes, and you guys are going to be voting tonight on our tentative agreement, and I just wanted to mention a couple things about it. There's part of it that's wages, and there's part of it that is new sub training. I'm not going to get into specifics about what the wages are, but there's an increase to the hourly rate for supplemental work, and some substitutes do some supplemental work. And then there's an increase, there's a one-time stipend for subs that work. It's an incentive stipend for subs that work 100 days or more. This is for last school year. So negotiations went a long time, and mainly because of the budget issues. I understand, and I've been working with Kit kind of all summer, communicating things back and forth. So the specific numbers you can get from Kit, unless you want me to disclose them here. And I brought my buddy, New Tang. His name's Tang, New Tang. I can take him out if I'm allowed to do that. I don't know if anybody's allergic. So Trustee Medina suggested that if I brought the cat on the night you vote, it might be a good strategy, a good campaign strategy. So I made a mental note, and I'd like to include him in my life. He's 4.5 months old right now, and he's my buddy. So he's doing a great job. Yeah, so when you guys get to voting tonight, both me and New Tang encourage you to vote yes on our tentative agreement. And the members will be very grateful too, I'm sure, when, we just fixed a couple things that it's taken a couple years to do. So I'm very excited to have this happening tonight. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate the time to share all of this. And one last thing is, Kit, I'd love to set up the regular CWA meeting moving forward into the school year as we get going. As far as the sub-training, in this is going to be authorization for 2 days of pay for new subs to be trained. The training is going to be more of a seminar day at the district office right now. I have ideas for a mentor sub program. We just need to put a little more thought to that to try to make that work. I am willing to do a little shadow training before I start LPAC testing if the district wants me to. In the next week or so, we're starting testing on the 28th of August. So that's all I have to say tonight. Please vote yes. Thank you so much for your time, and have a good night, everybody. From me and New Tang.
Thank you. Okay. Did you have something to say?
Yes.
Is it not going to get me a brown egg?
No, I know.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm needing some assistance here. I need to address you, Madam President.
Okay.
Because I cannot address the crowd, but I have a question.
Sure.
But I think we moved on too quickly. I don't want to violate Brown Act. But I had a question about something that Brandon had said.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my understanding is that I would be able to, but I'll look into that a little bit further.
A clarifying question for our PVFT president? Sure.
I think I have to address you. Yeah.
Yeah, with all the commotion,
I tried to
Yes.
stop it.
Go ahead.
So in regard to the flag being down on, that's the first I've heard of that. So
The pride flag at Aptos
Yes.
High School has been repeatedly vandalized. And so I think over the summer it went missing, it's been reordered, and it will be put back up.
okay. Thank you.
Maybe we should put like a mural that's more permanent.
Thank you. So that's a good thing you can discuss.
What if I have a
Thank
question?
you.
Can I ask that?
Thank you, Madam
You
President.
have a clarifying question for our CWA who just went right now?
I think you need to tell us what rules we're following because you have made it very unclear of what we can and cannot say.
I follow our
I get
board
you're getting your
policy.
coaching right now. There's a difference between policy and rules. Policy governs us, rules guide the meeting.
I think we're violating
That's
our
the
board
difference.
policy.
Thank you,
You're,
Trustee.
you're violating quite a
Thank
few
you,
too. And this is a
Trustee Molina.
point of clarification. That's what I was trying to do.
Thank you. And now I will move on to item 8.4, PVAM. Do we have anyone for PVAM? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rich Moran. It's my pleasure to represent the Pajaro Valley Association of Managers. Levity. I love it. It helps. But first of all, I'd like to express some gratitude. So thank you, Dr. Contreras, Board President, Ms. Flores, Vice President Navarro, all of our trustees for all of your work. Congratulations, Desi. Phenomenal. Super proud to see you there, and I'm excited for our student body. I'm excited for our board. I'd also like to thank our cabinet for their effort and their dedication. I'd like to thank our PVUSD classified, certificated, and CWA staff for their work in support of every student at every school here and at the central office. I'd like to thank our students and our community members for their continued support and their engagement. I think gratitude is the one thing that helps all of us go. It helps us stay focused on our students, on our responsibilities. So anytime I'm feeling like maybe I'm not hitting the mark, it's always good to be grateful for what we have. And that's kind of the gist of where I'm going this evening. I've been in the district for a while, and as I thought about what I would speak about and share with you tonight, it may seem a little selfish, but I started thinking about one school first, and that was Pajaro Valley High School. It's where I got my start. And I started thinking a little bit more about a couple of other schools, and Mar Vista popped into mind. It's where my students went. And then ultimately, I think what I realized, my thoughts were focusing on growth, on change, and on improved student outcomes and experiences for our students. I was thinking about PV Elevate, PV Advance, and our STEAM initiative. Ultimately, I realized I was thinking about innovation and the effort of one of our PVAM members in particular. I was really thinking about the undeniably collaborative efforts of Ms. Julie Edwards and all those involved in supporting these monumental shifts in thinking, including our new STEAM director, Ms. Deepika Srivastava. And most importantly, I want to pay some gratitude, because what I was really thinking about are the opportunities our students now have access to. So Ms. Edwards is going to take it from here. I wanted to thank you all again for your efforts and for being here tonight and for hearing about some of the big shifts, the big moves that we're making in support of our students. And as usual, if I represent PVAM and speak for PVAM, I'll keep that opening, because gratitude for everyone's effort, I think, recognizes how we work together and what we can accomplish when we do work together. So without further ado, Ms. Julie Edwards.
Thank you, Rich. Good evening, Board President Flores, Superintendent Dr. Contreras, Board Trustees, Student Trustee Salinas Holtz, welcome, and PVUSD family, students, and our community. I'm happy to be alongside my colleague Rich Moran to provide updates and celebrations related to the work and innovation that wouldn't be a reality without everyone in the PVUSD community moving in the same direction, committed to our singular focus, contributing to positive outcomes for our students. We started the school year with deep grounding with effective school boards to reflect on our purpose and individual and collective responsibility to increase positive outcomes for our students at the center. As a member of our management association, I'm committed and aligned with the belief that student outcomes will not change until adult beliefs and behaviors change, and also that every adult in our school system, including teachers, staff, administrators, and board members, have an important role in ensuring that our students experience success in our schools and in their lives after they graduate from PVUSD. Thank you, Dr. Contreras and our PVUSD board trustees for supporting us with effective school boards by providing this incredible student-centered opportunity to learn and grow together. An update on our new programs, super excited to share with you. Programs like PV Advance welcomed 60 Grizzlies to college, also now Seahawks, on the same day they started high school. PV Elevate is growing in service to our TK-12 students who have chosen a flexible online educational setting to learn and grow. 25 students will be learning to rivet and about the science of flight in anticipation of building a fully functional airplane in the EAA hangar at the Watsonville Municipal Airport. You may have seen an article in the Sentinel yesterday about that. Last but not least, it's full steam ahead at Mar Vista, TK8, where teachers, staff, and students will learn to explore like a scientist, design like a technologist, build like an engineer, create like an artist, and analyze like a mathematician, and ultimately also connect like a human. And yes, those do spell STEAM. Thank you for your time and the opportunity to serve in PVUSD.
Thank you. Okay, so now that brings us to our action items. And items 9.1 and 9.2 are on hold, so we'll move on to item 9.3. This is approved tenant agreement with Communication Workers of America. This report will be presented by Kit Bragg, our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources.
Well, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm delighted to share on the back of the comments you already heard from Mike Floor that we did reach agreement. We're excited about that agreement, not only because it mirrors what we agreed with PVFT as far as the one-time dollar stipend and how we could apply that to our CWA membership, but specifically it brings training to our substitute population through CWA and our partnership with that union. And so I would ask that the board please approve the ratification from our joint teams.
Thank you. Do we have any public speakers to this item?
Yes, we do. Brandon Denise and Marilyn Garrett.
Thank you for letting me come back up here again. I'm just coming to speak in support of the CWA and encourage you to pass this agreement. I'm not sure how many of you know the history of representation of the substitutes in our district, but it's an inspiring story of people coming together to organize and fight for their rights. They, a few years ago, were under receivership because the people in San Jose who managed the CWA office maybe were being a little bit out the money, but thank you to Mike Floor and to David Romo for coming in and really giving the CWA the stability they need. I would call on all the CWA members to back them and support them, because as a union leader myself, I know that I can't do this job alone, and I have a great team behind me. I also want to share that when we negotiate new contracts, we need to make sure that we're following through on the implementation of any new language. We recently discovered that there's language in our contract that grants retirees who go on to substitute 145% of the pay that they would be getting if they were not a retiree. And we also found out that that wasn't happening. So our retirees who were substitutes have been shorted pay, and we're requesting that information so that we can find these people and get them the pay that they deserve. But that's something where it shouldn't take all of us scrambling and organizing. It should take the district office realizing that they've did their employees wrong, and now it's up to them to make it whole. So thank you.
I support CWA and PVFT and unions, and workers need to be better paid. I also put a priority on communications that are safe technology communications. And all these transmitters on the roof of the building, the Wi-Fi, these are documented to be unsafe. And I'm going to read just a little bit from citizensforsafetechnology.org. Its attention all parents, is Wi-Fi in school making your child sick? And it lists a lot of symptoms here. And then, if so, your child may be suffering from radiation sickness. And I think a lot of us are, but we don't realize it because it's invisible, but it's documented to be harmful. Microwave transmitters for wireless internet are installed in many area schools. These devices are exposing children to non-ionizing radiation for 6 hours a day, 184 days a year. Non-ionizing radiation has been confirmed through thousands of scientific studies to cause all of the above symptoms, and chronic cumulative exposure can lead to serious life-threatening health problems such as cancer, leukemia, brain tumors, and diabetes. Have you given consent for your child to be exposed to this health risk? The fact that Wi-Fi is in widespread use does not mean it is safe. Wi-Fi is an unregulated technology that has never been safety tested. FCC.
Thank you, Marilyn.
They're not biologically based.
And we
I'm
do
gonna
need
give
to
this
keep our
you.
comments on topic, please. Thank you.
It is on topic. Thank you.
Okay, so we will now bring it back to the board. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, but I would like to comment.
Sure, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. And now board discussion. Trustee Turley?
I'd like to express appreciation for Mike and the all of the substitutes who are critical to educating our students. I'd also like to say that I'm so pleased about the training for substitutes. It's my understanding, having a child who was a substitute, that there's practically zero training. They're given a key and a radio. And putting that together is just amazing, and I think really serves our students and makes the subbing experience a little easier. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Do we have any other discussion from the board? Okay. Oh, Trustee Navarro?
I just want to echo Trustee Turley. Mike, thank you for all that you do and the support of your substitute staff. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mike, and to all of our substitutes. And so now we do have a motion from first from Trustee Turley and a second from Trustee Flynn. So seeing no further board discussion, I will bring it to a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion passes 6-0-0-1. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So now that brings us to item 9.4, our board consideration of changing our board meeting dates. This report will be presented by myself. There isn't really a whole lot to present, but do we have any public comments to this item?
We do. Erin Johnson, Marilyn Garrett, and Chris Webb.
Still Erin. Hi. So I'm here tonight to speak against any temporary or permanent change to the board's established meeting day. While I understand that scheduling conflicts do arise, the ripple effects of shifting even one meeting, let alone changing the regular schedule, are more significant than they may seem. First, such a change requires considerable staff time and coordination. Public notices must be updated, reposted, and redistributed across multiple platforms in compliance with Brown Act. That means website updates, bulletin postings, email notifications, adjustments to calendars, all on a tight legal timeline. This responsibility falls on district administrative staff who already carry a heavy workload. If the change becomes permanent, it's even more complex. You're not just moving a meeting, you're amending board policy, updating bylaws, revising the annual meeting calendar, coordinating with legal counsel, staff, and the public. It creates unnecessary administrative burden and confusion for families and community members who plan around a predictable meeting schedule. This board's primary responsibility is to serve the public. Decisions should be made with the community in mind, not to accommodate individual conflicts, no matter how understandable they are. Consistency builds public trust. Frequent or personalized changes do not. And I would also like to point you to Board Bylaw 9320, which emphasizes both transparency and predictability in board governance. So I respectfully urge you to preserve that standard and keep the meeting schedule as is, and prioritize transparency, stability, and respect for the time and efforts of our staff and stakeholders. Thank you.
We need to have you on the board, and that's a problem. And wonder why Cabrillo scheduled you at the same night. It seems, I don't know, but I'd like to hear what people have to say here. But I really want you speaking out, like on the lithium-ion batteries, on community responsive education. Every time you speak, I think that's right on the mark, and thank you for speaking out. It takes courage to do it. And so it's a shame there's this kind of conflict in scheduling. It's really disturbing. That's all.
Regardless of how this issue shakes out, I take solace in the effective school boards team that was announced. I'm pleased with that. I also want to just thank Trustee Medina for being here and Trustee Flynn for being here. You have been missed. Also, I wanted to say that I agreed with one of the community members at the last meeting who he mentioned that maybe we should, if we're going to change dates, to not schedule on Yom Kippur. I feel like that would be a good way to, like, we've passed resolutions. If that was part of one of our resolutions, I feel like that would be a good move. And then also at the same time, just to make sure we're welcoming to everybody, I can't help but notice that in the news recently, we had UK and France recognize a Palestinian state, and we had 2 Israeli human rights groups, B'Tselem and Physicians for Human Rights recognizing Physicians for Human Rights Israel recognizing a genocide in Gaza. So I think if we did pass a resolution where we are taking Yom Kippur we should also just say that we recognize the lives of Palestinians matter. Simple. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no other comments, I will now bring it back to the board for a motion. And I do need to make sure that the motion is specific with the day of the week and the starting time and ending time, because in order for it to become an action item and for it to be able to take effect without another board meeting to have an action item for making that meeting, I just need the motion to be specific.
Are you sure? Shadow President, is that correct?
Trustee Medina, yes.
Yes?
If any action by the board is going to be actionable, it does have to be specific. A general resolution of intent doesn't mean much.
Okay, got it. She's been very vague, that's why. Okay, thank you. Weren't you going to present on times? I thought that was the directive we gave to the superintendent last meeting, to come up with proposals.
No, all the agendas from all the schools were presented to us. This is not, yes, we had them.
Yeah, so why aren't we reviewing that now so the public could also see that?
You want to look at 32 site calendars.
So look I know what you guys are trying to do. You do not want me on here, and you're going to do exactly what you did to Trustee Flynn and rushing things through when she has specifically asked you guys about SROs. That's exactly what you did. And this is a very educated community, and we all saw right through that. So, wait, I'm not done speaking. Thank you. I had proposed to move this because I am a new teacher at Cabrillo College. I just got assigned. And those of you who work in higher education understand that your assignment can't really be
Trustee
skewed.
Medina, we need a motion.
I don't have the time. Okay. We need to have a discussion on what is better for people. We didn't get anybody's schedules. We don't know what is up. So we need to have a discussion about it. I can't propose something when I don't know what people's schedules are. Does that not make sense to you?
I need a motion to start the discussion.
I move that we move our board meeting to Thursdays at the same time as this meeting, effective next school board meeting, ending in December. I only need this for a semester. That's it. And then I've told them to redo my schedule for next fall 2025. It's amazing that we could accommodate unelected officials, but it's a hard time to accommodate people who are actually
Trustee
elected
Medina,
by the
please.
people. So I think we need to see right through what they're trying to do, because if I'm not here, we're not going to have people defending our labor, our students, and they're just going to roll things through.
So Trustee Medina,
They've showed
you're
us that
saying
already.
that it would take effect for our changing our September meeting to September 11th. And then it would go through till December, you said?
Just through December, yes.
Through December. So, yes, our organizational meeting, I believe, is on the 10th. And then the 17th, we do not have one. Sorry, I just want to make sure this motion is clear. So in December, we only have our organizational meeting on December 10th. So that would get changed to December 11th. Okay, so the motion on the table is to move our change our board meetings from November, I'm going to say the current dates that they are, from September 10th through December 10th to be on Thursdays from September 11th through the calendar till December 11th.
that was it?
Okay, so that we can be September, so.
From and then to.
So these would be our new board meeting dates.
Okay, the from and the to.
So the first date would be September 11th. From oh, sorry, that's what you're saying. From the 10th to the 11th. From October 1st to October 2nd. Mm-hmm. October 22nd to October 23rd. And then November 12th. November 12th to November 13th. And then December 10th to December 11th. That is the motion on the table to move 5 board meetings from our Wednesday night to Thursday night. Do we have a second? Okay, Trustee Carrasco second. So now we could have board discussion. Trustee Navarro, you had a comment?
When I joined the board, I gave my schedule request for all the meeting dates for the entire year, and out of those changes, I would only be able to make 1 board meeting.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Yeah, you're fine. Trustee Turley?
It's my goal to make sure we have quorum. And, you know, I was out for a while, Joy was out for a while, Danny's not here. And I don't want to go into that, but I'd just like to have a better idea of dates that we are available, kind of doing a doodle, except we're going to do it live. What dates or what day of the week generally people can be available. So we know the conflict on Wednesday. Are there other days beside, there's 1 week, I think I heard you say, Misty, that you would be able to. Which one is that?
It's in December, but I just generally don't have a regular schedule that of like, I work certain days of the week, but I do know my schedule several months in advance, and that's why I gave my schedule request a year in advance.
Understand. Do any other days of the week work for the rest of you?
I had stated at the last meeting that Tuesdays and Thursdays do not work for me. I'm available, I could be available Mondays. Wednesdays, obviously, I've cleared up for the past 4 years, or 2.5 years to 1.5 more year. And Fridays are available, but that's also, it's football season, and a lot of our staff is required to be at football games. I also like to attend. So yeah, Mondays and Wednesdays is the days that I had said I was available.
Trustee Medina, what are the hours of your class? Because I'm wondering if there are times that you would be able to join us via Zoom for even a portion. I'm just trying to figure out if there's any sort of compromise.
I'm scheduled 6:30 to 9:30 Mondays and Wednesdays.
Okay.
Mondays and Wednesdays?
Yeah.
So Mondays are up.
Yeah, I teach the night course. That
Yeah.
was the only time the lab was available, and unfortunately, I don't have the luxury of getting my schedule ahead in advance. So.
Okay. For me, I want to acknowledge that this does affect multiple people and different areas. I appreciate that you've come to ask, and it, to me, shows your commitment to wanting to share your voice. And I know that there are obviously, due to public comment, people who want to hear your voice and want you to be here. I appreciate the feedback that you give, because it gives me insight to a voice that I don't have access to. And I would love to, I wish there could be some compromise, Thursdays, those particular Thursdays actually work for me. So it doesn't affect me personally, but I want to acknowledge that there are people that it does affect. And we do need our president here. If I were, just because she's running the meetings, that would be my only thing. So I don't know if we could do that just for 5 meetings. So that's just where I'm coming from. Yeah.
I also do want to just remind our board that we had to schedule a board leadership training, a board training, and we were provided with 3 dates. We all struggled to find a date that worked for all of us. We finally pinned down one that worked for 6 of us, and only 3 showed up. So I think it's really worrisome to change up our schedules, knowing how this can happen. And at this point, you know, the majority of us have already designated Wednesdays as a day to keep open. And I know, looking at the site calendars, Thursdays tend to be a popular day for site council meetings, home and school club meetings, and other committee meetings that we do have throughout the district. So that's my comment.
Yeah, and I just wanted to bring this in full transparency for the community so they know, like, hey, I made an attempt to try moving the meeting so I could be in attendance, but it's really going to come down to how people vote. So I just wanted to bring that attention over. I am very worried that, you know, if myself, Flynn, Turley, or Carrasco are not in attendance, that we won't have the voice of the true community here being amplified. So that's my big worry, because the leadership team has demonstrated they're very fickle in learning about rules and following them. And that's my worry, because you've demonstrated that you're barely understanding Robert's rules 8 months later.
Trustee Medina, you're violating one of our board policies right now. I want to bring that to the attention
Why
of
is
the
she
president.
speaking over me? This is my time to speak.
She is reminding you of our decorum agreement.
I am
Thank
reminding
you.
of our decorum, and I'm also reminding you of the horrible leadership that you've guided us through.
Okay.
So with that being said, that's all. I hope that you guys vote for this, because again, look at what they did to Trustee Flynn when she wanted to speak about SROs. They gaslit her and they told her it was going to happen, it was going to be put on the agenda, and they did not do it. Okay? That is the leadership team that we are dealing with. Thank you.
Do we have any more comments from the board? Okay. Seeing none, I will bring, go ahead, Trustee Turley.
I'm feeling like the only possible day of the week ends up being Friday. Because you're doing other.
Okay, so I will bring it to a vote. We do have,
So you said Thursdays don't. You said Thursdays don't work for you. Is there any chance that Thursday, December 11th would work? So at least we could potentially all be together for our planning meeting for the next year?
That's a good call out.
that is, yes.
And like maybe there is another meeting. I mean, we already have the motion on the table. I want to figure out how to be strategic here. Maybe there's a couple of meetings that we might be able to move rather than all of them. Would that be a good compromise?
I would need to see the agenda,
Oh,
because
yeah.
the way that the agenda setting has been going, we don't know what's coming up and what's not. Just, you know, so that's my worry, that they don't understand when we ask for things. We do want it coming up the next 1 or 2 meetings, but we clearly haven't seen that. That's my worry.
What about, again, would you be able to join remotely and we can move agenda items to the top?
I'm contracted 6:30 to 9:30, and I'm obligated to be with my students during that time. So it's very hard for me
Yeah, the
to
first
be.
half hour, yeah.
And this is the first class that we're launching at Cabrillo for film, and I'm spearheading that.
Yeah.
So, and this is extremely what I'm passionate about, along with student governance. But yeah, I as an elected official, I feel like I need to be here. My disenfranchised area really needs a voice because leadership has failed them epically.
So, Trustee Turley, you had talked about one meeting at least that we knew was going, you knew an agenda item. Would that be moving somewhat in the right direction?
I don't trust this leadership team, and I've made that very clear. So I wouldn't want that because, again, I don't know what they're going to be putting on the agenda. They're not very transparent about that.
I thought this was one that.
Yeah,
we
so
didn't know.
if this motion's on the table and it's been seconded, we can vote on it. If it fails, we could have, I could see a second motion where we could be more specific. And Trustee Navarro has mentioned her schedule has gone out to October, November, so I think it should be available to ask for that day off. That far in advance, yes, I could probably get childcare for that night and arrange other stuff because that is an important meeting. The agenda for that meeting, I could tell you, it's our organizational meeting. It's where it's what our bylaws say. It's all it is voting for new leadership and assigning the committees. So I think it is true that we should have our full board here for that. So.
I'd be more confident if we could move up the board leadership meeting and elect a new president and vice president. That would give me more
You tried that at the
assurances.
last board meeting and it failed.
Well, yeah,
So-
because you didn't have Joy here, which was our vote, and you manipulated
still
that.
wouldn't
so
have had the
we
votes.
would have had the vote.
Okay, discussions are over.
Okay.
let's-
So we have a first and a second, so I'm going to go ahead and take a vote for this motion, which is to change the next 5 board meetings from Wednesday to Thursday. All those in favor?
I'd like roll call.
Okay, I'll do a roll call. Okay. Trustee Medina,
Yes.
Trustee Carrasco,
Yes.
Trustee Turley,
No.
Trustee Flynn,
Strategically, so that we could go back and make this to the other option, I'm going to vote. Wait, I need to know which way I need to.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
Wait.
Yes means move all 5. No means either we're done or we'll come up with another alternative.
No,
No,
hold
we'll
on.
do it
I
now.
want to,
So right now, the motion on the table
right,
is to move the next
All the
5
5
meetings
right.
from Wednesday to Thursday.
And we figured that isn't a possibility. So then there's this other alternative that this needs to fail so that we can do that.
Doesn't
So-
need to fail, but we need to vote on this item before we can move on.
Okay. Yes.
Okay? Trustee, you want to change all 5?
Oh, no, I want to
Okay.
do the other one.
Okay.
Can I,
So that was a no from Trustee Flynn. Okay, Trustee Navarro?
No.
No. And that would be a no from me, so the motion fails 2-4. Oh, okay, sorry.
Anything except
You can. Yes. So, any opposed, any abstaining? Okay. So motion fails 2-4-1-1.
can I make a new motion now? Okay. I want to make a motion to move, you had said that you could, as of October, or? Oh, just the December meeting? Okay. And then what about that other, is that the meeting?
That's the organization.
Okay. 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 I'm trying to have at least one meeting move so that you can be there, and it's the one that is important where there's leadership change.
All meetings are important because if we have to vote on something,
Yes, I
my
hear
vote
you.
could not being there could mean that they win. And we don't want that happening because of their decision so far.
I understand that, but I already knew that that was going to unfortunately fail. So I'm trying to work to get you to at least one, and it's the one where we vote on leadership. So I want to make sure that you are there. We'll make sure that you have an opportunity to share your voice during the times that you're not here.
I don't trust
but
that, Joy. I don't trust that. You've seen how this board leadership has treated me, and I do not trust them.
Trustee Medina, please let her finish.
I understand that. So what I'm trying to do is at least get you to one. And that would be the December one where leadership is voted on. Because the other one, it wasn't going to work for everyone.
So you can make a motion.
So I'm making a motion to move the December meeting 10th, from December 10th to December 11th.
Second?
Okay, so we have a motion to move our December 10th meeting to December 11th, and we have a second. I will do a roll call vote.
We get comment now, right?
Oh, okay, Trustee Medina?
Okay. I want you to think about this, Joy. They're going to put and stack a bunch of stuff in those 4 meetings prior that they could pass without my vote. That's disfranchising my area.
I've been there.
Yeah. So, and especially the most vulnerable one in our district. I don't trust these people who have aligned with far right, who have aligned themselves with people who are causing harm to my community. That is why I do not trust them. And in giving you all my votes, I respect Trustee Turley, but I'm also worried about her voting record because it's been here or there. And I don't have assurances that my community is going to come through with these votes. That's what I'm scared of. Representing an area that has been historically neglected, this is part of that disfranchisement. That's why I think if I'm here, I could fully represent them, especially at a time right now where even our own board president hasn't commented about the ICE raids that are happening right now. So that is why I'm worried. Because again, this leadership team has shown their true colors, and it is always in opposition to my community. So I'll leave it at that.
Trustee Medina, I lived in your area for 7 years. I care deeply for those students. And this board, before you were on, pushed and pushed to get Pajaro Middle School rebuilt after the floods.
And did you see how
So
that
we
looked when
do
it was
care
rebuilt? Did
for
you see
that.
how the teachers did not have lights? Did you see how there was windows missing during a chemical fire?
Working
So
in
don't sit here and tell me that you
construction, I do know
care,
there's always a punch
okay?
list. So
When
yes.
that hasn't
Trustee
even been
Flores,
addressed.
we have a
Thank
Trustee
you.
Medina is in
We
violation
do-
of our board policy, section 9000, number 3, please, again.
Can you read that out loud?
Section 9000.
Read
for our
it
board
verbatim.
policies. The Board of Education believes in the primary responsibility is to act in the best interest of every student in the district. The board also has major commitments to parents and guardians, all members of the community, employees, the state of California, laws pertaining to public education, and established policies of the district. To maximize board effectiveness and public confidence in district governance, board members are expected to govern responsibly and hold themselves to the highest standards of ethical conduct. The board expects its members to work with each other and the superintendent to ensure that high-quality education is provided to each student. Each individual board member shall, and I'm going to specifically cite the ones that are recognize and respect differences of perspectives and style on the board and among staff, students, and parents of the community. Act with dignity and understand the implications of demeanor and behavior.
And where does it say that you could donate $500 for a board seat?
Trustee Medina, please, that's off topic.
Thank you.
And it's
So
already-
that's about ethics, right?
It's
Let's
already-
talk about ethics. Trustee Navarro.
Okay, so we do have a motion on the table by Trustee Flynn. Did we have a second? Okay, a second by Trustee Turley. So we will go ahead and bring this to a roll call vote. Trustee Medina? Trustee Carrasco?
Yes.
Trustee Turley?
Yes?
Trustee Flynn?
Yes.
Trustee Navarro?
Yes.
Trustee Salinas Holtz? Thank you. And I am also a yes. So that motion passes 5-1-1-1. Thank you.
So what does that mean?
Now we're moving on. Yep. Okay, so now I will move us on to item 10.1, PVUSD's instructional guide. This report will be presented by Claudia Monjares, our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum, Instruction, and Professional Development.
Good evening.
Counselors. You're out of order.
Good evening, Board, President Flores, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Contreras. So we are presenting our PVUSD instructional guide, which was born from our Visionary Network meetings from last year with our teachers. In that guide, you will see a lot of the instructional strategies that we discussed in our Visionary Network meetings. And we have highlighted two of those strategies, which is the gradual release model, instructional model, and the teacher clarity piece, which is about using learning intentions and success criteria. Those are our two big strategies that we're focusing on in K through 12 this year. We will continue to revisit this guide over the course of this year through continued Visionary Network meetings. The guide has already been presented to administrative staff at the site, and we've started to do training with them around that, and they have already presented this to their staff at the SBC Day. And again, it is the basis of what we are focusing our professional development.
Thank you. Do we have any public speakers to this item?
Marilyn Garrett.
I taught in this district about 20 years and was focused with a group, Farm Without Harm, trying to stop pesticide use in and around schools. That's why I have trimmers, according to my healthcare provider. So the first thing is a safe and healthy learning and working environment, right? You don't want to go into a room where people are smoking, right? A room with Wi-Fi radiation is endangering everyone. Research-based content states here, there's so much research on the adverse effects of vaccines and toxic exposure. The figures we heard earlier about children in this district with asthma, respiratory problems, on medication, it's appalling. The reality, let's see, I have a lot of literature here. One thing is the vaccines. In 1986, the U.S. Supreme Court said vaccines are unavoidably unsafe. Unavoidably unsafe. That means there needs to be a choice. If parents want their children injected with the toxins that are in vaccines, let them. But there needs to be a choice. And right now in this state, vaccines are mandated for children. They weren't when my daughter went to school and graduated from Aptos High in 1985, and they shouldn't be. And this district, I believe, should
Marilyn.
take a stand for health in opposing mandated vaccines.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I will now bring it back to the board for discussion. Do we have any discussion from the board? Trustee Turley.
In my life, I've seen many, many, many manuals of things put together that end up sitting on shelves. I think maybe many of us have in our lives. How is this going to be a living document and not gathering dust and actually useful to educators?
Love that question. So one of the things that we are building into this is ability that we're putting in QR codes, which will give teachers more slides and more information. When I had said earlier that we're going to continue building off of it in the Visionary Network meetings, those will eventually lead to folders where we're going to be putting in things that teachers are building. The instructional strategies are our signature practices as Pvusd. We're going to be continuing to go back to these over the next 3 years. Each year we will focus on 2 new ones, which will bring us back to the guide as a tool. Each year will be revised. We'll have a final revision at the end of each year, which we can then bring back in the fall to show the board any new updates to it from teachers.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you and the amazing things that you do for this district.
Thank you.
Trustee Carrasco?
Thanks for the presentation. I just wanted to confirm, so there will be opportunities for teachers to be able to put their input throughout this whole process?
Oh, absolutely. The signature practices that are in here came from those meetings.
Okay.
Like, for example, the gradual release model, when we were in those meetings, we looked at a lot of John Hattie's work in terms of the ones that have the highest effect strategies. And the gradual release model was one of the ones that the teachers were the most, that they leaned towards the most, because it has a lot of flexibility in how teachers, and you would be able to know this, and how they can go from different levels of engagement within the classroom.
Yeah. And then I know that there's a focus between kinder and third grade for English learners.
Mhm.
How are you going to track that?
So that's a good question, and I'm going to defer a little bit of that answer. I'll get it started, but then I'm going to defer to Mike too, because our 2 divisions work together on that. So there's 2 pieces to that, and I'll speak to what will be happening in the classroom. So part of that is we need to be focusing more on designated ELD and integrated ELD instruction. So that is one of the things that we're going to be working with the administrators on and supporting them so that they can help make those changes and moves in the classroom. We got a lot of feedback from the FPM of next steps for us. And then I'm going to defer to Mike to continue on that answer for the monitoring.
Good evening, everyone. She mentioned it. Really what we need to be doing a better job is looking at our data on an ongoing basis to make sure that we're disaggregating the benchmark data that we get throughout the year to make sure our teachers and our sites have the information they need to group students, to rotate them throughout the groups, and to really target their language needs also. And that's kind of Claudia mentioned about the learning intentions and success criteria. And then the next step really is looking, or another step parallel to that is looking at the language goals for our students that are English learners.
So would it be, you would be measuring it by conversations or reading logs, or like specifically how?
So those would be definitely items. Those would be the formative pieces that we would use, like the formative assessment pieces. Other things would be our district benchmark assessment. So it's a combination of the 2. We would need to have the formative and the summative. Chrissy McLean, our director of state and fed, she has already been going around to our sites and meeting with the administrative teams at the site to actually go through each of their ELL students to find out, like, let's identify exactly where the kids are, how did they do on that LPAC, what's going to be the plan to help address the students. Like today I saw her when we were out at PMS for the Williams visit. So she was out there meeting with Bonmita.
Thank you.
Trustee Flynn?
I am glad that the teachers are liking it and embracing it, because that means that they're gonna teach really well what they enjoy. My question is, where else have you seen this implemented, and what have the outcomes been?
So just so I can make sure I'm answering correctly. So when you're talking about this, meaning the guide or the strategies, the signature
The
practice?
strategies, so not necessarily a PVUSD, because I imagine that this kind of, you're not reinventing the wheel here.
No, we're taking from research. So I mentioned earlier John Hattie. He is a very well-known researcher, especially around educational practices. And he has over 2,000 meta-analysis data that he pulls from. And it actually has just been updated. The first one he released only had 800 meta-analysis. The latest one that got released in like about 2 years ago, I think it was, had over 2,000 meta-analysis. So he and his team are collecting data from across the world, basically, on what the top strategies are, and then he measures out effect size. So for each one of those strategies, he's able to show how much more over, like which ones have more than a year's worth of impact on student, family, everything. So that's why we're focusing on his work.
Thank you. I just want to point out that I think that this is the first moment during this meeting that we've discussed student outcomes outside of what Dr. Contreras has mentioned earlier, and that is a shift that you can expect to see with our school board training, is that most of what we will be discussing will have to be focused on student outcomes. That's what I'm here for. And any of the other stuff we need to really diminish. So I'm just speaking to the community and also thanking the administration for bringing this forward.
Thank you. Trustee Navarro?
Thank you, Claudia, for your work. I just want to clarify a couple of things. So is the goal of this to have uniformity across the district?
I would say uniformity in terms of we're following best practices. So part of the reason why we're rolling out our signature practices 2 at a time is because we have a lot of people in our district who are really excellent teachers and have been doing a lot of this stuff. So it's more of bringing it back to the center, enhancing for those folks who are already practicing, and then making sure everyone in the system, not just the teachers, but like our instructional aides, our RITs, our reading intervention teachers, trying not to use so many acronyms, our administrators, everyone in the system understands where we're going with instruction. So once we have gone through all of those, then we wouldn't be seeing necessarily lockstep, right? But it's that tool, that little bucket of tools that we know are the tried and true practices that people can reach into, needed based on what's going on in the classroom with the students.
One of the things that I've heard come up in the community is when switching schools, sometimes, you'll be working on one thing at one school and something else at another school, and then you switch schools, and then you don't learn the thing that you needed to learn because they're in a different order. What are you doing to address it? Is that along with this?
That would be the other half of this. So this guide is focusing more on teacher delivery. It does address a little bit on the curriculum piece, but it focuses way more on the instructional practices. There is variation in terms of materials that are currently being used across our sites for language arts, for example, or for math. We are trying to get that more aligned across our sites using our adopted curriculum as a district, and these are materials that have gone through the board for, yes, we're saying this is what we're going to be using so that it can address that. We have scope and sequence maps available for all of our curriculum, K through 12, actually TK through 12. So that is another area of revisiting and learning that we are, our team is looking at how are we going to get that PD and refresh people because we've had turnover.
I just had 2 more quick questions. One is, are you going to have like a super users at each site? Like you said, the teachers that are already doing these practices and having them serve as mentors or having on-site counsel?
That is the ideal situation. So that being able to use what I call our assets, right? Like our high utility players at the sites, That would come up definitely during their professional learning community time. So along with how are we delivering instruction comes the conversation within their grade level or department team on impact, right? So we're using these particular signature practices. How are we seeing that have an effect on learning in the classroom? And then when you have teams of teachers working together, there's always a variance of experience, knowledge, and what people bring to the table. So it does offer leaders within those groups to be able to help with the rest of the group of teachers.
I want to clarify that teachers were involved in this implementation every step of the way.
Yeah, so yes. What I did was I took all of our stuff and put it into a pretty format, basically. But yes, we do have, we did go through these items during Visionary Network. Yeah.
And then my last quick question is, how often are you going to be looking at the data and presenting it?
Okay, so we have our district benchmarks that are 3 times a year. So we have the big pieces. And then the other layer to that is we have our principal supervisors who are meeting with each of our principals to have data talks throughout the year. And that's pretty ongoing. I mean, that's kind of a once a month at the minimum. We also have our GRIT meetings that happen quarterly at the high school level. Those happen right after each of the report cards. Each of the quarter grades get released, and that's the graduation rate intervention team meetings where we're looking at D and F rates. We also have for early literacy, we have ongoing meetings with Dr. DeVargas, who's our early literacy coordinator. So she actually has data meetings on an ongoing basis with the elementary sites as well.
Great. Otherwise, I think this looks fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I do want to add one point with Claudia talked about the Visionary Network, which was a team of teachers who volunteered to be a part of developing this, but we also had a group of 40 students who also worked to give input into what they'd like to see in their classrooms as well.
Yes, and we also ran it through DAC and DLAC at the district level with the parents.
Any other comments from the board? Okay, I also want to thank you, actually all 3 of you, for all your work. I know we've had quite a few of these discussion items that we then adopt because we are trying to get more of our policies, procedures, and guides in writing. So thank you for all your hard work and helping to just streamline our district.
Thanks.
Okay. Now I will move us on to our consent agenda. Consent are routine items coming before the board. And do we have any public speakers to consent?
Yes. Brandon Denise, Chris Webb, Christina Souza, and Wendy San Juan.
And I also want to remind our speakers that we have removed 11.12, so that no longer pertains to consent agenda.
Brandon Denise from the PVFT, thank you for moving 11.12, and let's please keep that off until we do what's right and bring back the counselors who we've let go over the summer. I really want this board to try to follow this line of thinking here. Last February and March, you all rejected layoffs to our counselors. That was a great success. You guys did approve some layoffs, which then we fought on to get those reduced to the very, very minimum. And you also directed the district to slash their spending on Pajaro Valley Prevention and Student Assistance, PVPSA. What 1114 would do would be increasing the spending to PVPSA, which you said you would cut, and supplanting the work of the counselors who we've lost over the summer. Our counselors that were hired during COVID may have been hired with one-time monies, but those were permanent positions. And the way to eliminate permanent positions that are not tied to a class size or a collectively bargained student ratio or ed code is a reduction in force. I know we've come up here before and said layoffs should be done through attrition. That's for positions that are tied to class sizes, ed code, and enrollment. Our counselors are not tied to either of those. When we cite state averages, you all are smart enough to understand where those averages come from. They come from affluent districts who have great ratios and struggling districts that have horrible ratios. Why would we be aiming for average? This Valor program, what is it? Look at this MOU. There's nothing mentioned about the Valor program. How can you all in good faith implement something that you have no information about? And when you ask questions about this tonight, you're going to get doublespeak and wishy-washy answers that say, just trust us. But if you approve 11.14, you will be supplanting the work that our counselors are doing, bypassing a layoff process, and we will file an unfair labor practice charge.
Thank you.
I also wanted to speak to 11.14. So I live over the hill, and I closely follow the district I live in. It's bigger than this one. They tend to pay more, but there's ways that I feel that this district is better. And I think in the mental health care front, it is better. And and this worries me, this item, because I feel like we're moving in that way. Also, every time I ever hear, oh, well, they do it this other way, or most schools do it this way, I don't really like those things, because there's a lot of things in this district that I think we do better than others, and especially like model continuation renaissance for sure. But like there's things that we do better that don't always get recognized, and to just rush in to take other models, especially if they're not proven. I agree. I couldn't really figure out anything clear enough details on the Valor program. And what I've seen over the hill is that when they start to outsource to these like private entities, it's just less reliable. It's less consistent. The connection to the community of a site is not there. I think I read in this item that Watsonville High School specifically was going to lose like a specific support. I don't like that. Also, I'm just seeing in the larger trend, like for example, with moving out the Renaissance people, I just feel like we're disrespecting our institutional knowledge, and we're creating unforced errors. And like even then when we move people, like, you know, we heard with the CCMS case, we're moving the wrong people. So I think we just need to rethink a lot of this. Also, what would be a good expenditure is something Claudia mentioned earlier in the spring. She said something about like art in non-art classes, and like, you know, as a history teacher, I kind of like that idea. I kind of like, oh yeah, give me some PD. Let me find ways to get people excited about this assessment that's like art related. So I'd want to spend money on something like that. Thank you.
So I have worked closely with PVPSA for the past 10 years, and I, to this day, really consider most of them my friends. We've stayed in contact. But considering our current budget circumstances and current discussion about reducing school counselors and PVUSD mental health clinicians, why are we even entertaining increasing an outside agency? And I would like some clarification if that's possible. I'm wondering about the board vote last year about reducing PVPSA's contract from $2 million to $1 million. I haven't been able to get clarity if that is still the case, if it was reduced to $1 million. Thank you. So we've already heard tonight the passion and dedication of our counselors. We are here after a full day of work, and we will keep coming back. And Mark, I want to thank you for your courage to share your story and input. And your input is invaluable. You represent so many of our students who cannot come forward, and they should not have to. Counselors, mental health clinicians at PVUSD can conduct risk assessment for intervention for suicidal ideation and self-harm, and we do it a lot. I can't count how many I've done. I one time went to a suicide prevention awareness training, and they had the big sticky things, and they said, how many risk assessments have you done? 0, 1 to 3, 1 to 5, 1 to 10. I'm like, well, I'm well over 100, and that was 7 years ago. So please really think about where our money is going. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for reiterating and just shining some light on the 1 million. What I want to ask this board is to clearly analyze, where is that million going to? I would like to see an itemized list. Why? Because in this district, been here 20 years. I could tell you, some clinicians will see 2, 3, maybe 5 students. That's not the best investment of our money, okay? So where is this money going to? Is it being utilized across the district, and how? I personally just found out we're getting a intern only because she's my sorority sister. Otherwise, I probably would not have known. I would also like to put it out here. Where is the mental health 5-year strategic plan for PVUSD? Where is the district's 5-year strategic plan for school counseling? 20 years here, counselors have developed the program here by working with Trish Hatch and other people. County Office of Education has offered way more support than PVUSD leadership. So shout out Christine Chopra, okay? So I would like for the board to pay close attention to that and include our mental health professionals and our school counselors in driving this district forward in this area. We have credentials, we have degrees, and we are working with people that seem to not understand exactly what it is that we do. Thank you.
Can I speak?
Yes, Trustee Navarro.
I wanted to make a motion to pass the consent agenda except pulling item 11.14. So that I just feel like the public has more discussion and that would be useful to have more discussion about it.
Are there any other consent items that would like to be pulled? Trustee
Yeah,
Medina?
I want to pull 11.17, new CTE pathways and courses for 25-26.
Okay. So.
And I'd also like to pull 11.19, MOU, PVUSD, and Experimental Aircraft Association, Chapter 119.
You said 11.19 was your second one. Okay. No, 11.9, sorry. So not this one. Okay, so the motion on the table is to approve consent agenda with the removal of 11.9, 11.14, and 11.17, as well as 11.112 that was already removed earlier tonight. So is that your motion? Okay. So the motion on the table by Trustee Navarro is to approve the consent agenda with the removal of, I'm repeating it one more time just for clarity, 11.9, 11.14, and 11.17, as well as 11.12 because that was already removed.
I think technically in our legal can say, I requested removing 11.14, and I believe that Trustee Medina is amending in my motion.
Okay. And do we, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I second that.
Okay, so Trustee Flynn seconds the motion.
Comment? I second that with the amendments.
Okay, and so now, yes, Trustee
I
Turley?
need clarification. So are we removing all of those items and we're not discussing them, or?
No,
11
we will discuss.
11, 12, we're not doing.
We're
but
not.
The others we're moving.
We will
we'll
come back.
discuss. Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
They will be deferred. Okay, so do we have the motion on the table. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion passes 6001, and now we also have to vote on the amendment, correct? Okay. Mhm. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that motion passes 6001. And now we will move on to our deferred consent agenda. And we will start with 11.9. Trustee Medina, you had a question on this.
Yeah, Julie, this is for you. Okay, so I'm excited about this, but I'm curious. Was there a survey or something that was given to students that said that they wanted this aerospace engineering program?
Not a particular survey, but
No.
we did offer engineering the year before, and the teacher that was teaching that class retired. And so this is an iteration of that same pathway that we adopted a couple years ago, because we weren't able to pursue that former engineering slice. It's
So we
fancier.
didn't survey the students on whether this was something that they wanted at the school, and that's a no, right? That's what I'm hearing.
Specifically, no,
Yeah,
we
okay.
did not.
How many aviation jobs are available in Watsonville?
We look at the Central Coast, so Joby Aviation, Archer Aviation, specifically in Watsonville would be attached to the airport primarily.
Which
The
is very
students-
limited, right?
Pardon me?
It's a little limited since it's a really
Probably,
smaller
yeah,
one.
but within our region, which is when we look at labor market data, we
Uh-huh.
look at a 3-county region,
Yeah.
and we're looking for the high wage, high skilled, high demand jobs. One of the outcomes of this particular pathway is, well, there's multiple avenues after a student would finish, but one of them is in the 2 years, students can finish a bunch of the competencies in an apprenticeship at Joby Aviation for an airplane. It's like a technician to repair airplanes,
them,
and that certification or training, they can be paid while they're an apprentice. They can finish a good third of what they would have to learn once they got the apprenticeship, and cuts their time to a higher paying job with all the quality jobs with benefits and stock options and all the things. So,
Okay,
yeah.
I looked, and there was only about 7 jobs that were posted in the area for that airport specifically for the past 3 years. So I thought that was a little limiting in terms of offering something like this, and then hoping that the students go into aviation, where the job market here in this area are a little limited.
I mean, what I hear you about that, and we weren't specifically looking at positions like in the Watsonville airport. We're looking at a bigger region, as well as the fact that the kids are going to be getting all kinds of transferable skills.
Yeah.
So electrical, can lead to electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, all, software engineering, because so much of avionics is about, programming and stuff. So a pathway is not just a single destination from the way that CTE is today. It's not just a straight line to one thing. It can be like a whole collection of options. So,
Okay.
so yeah.
Yeah, and what programs is this pipeline into for Cabrillo?
Cabrillo has an engineering program, and so it would be that program.
It
So
would be the
it's-
engineering one?
Yeah,
Is there
it
a
would be
specific
engineering.
focus in aviation?
They currently don't have a focus, but they have a drone-related curriculum that's being developed, and they transfer to UCSC where there is a drone program, and there is mechanical engineering and electrical engineering.
Got
So,
it.
yeah.
I think the one thing that I just wanted to point out was, if we're creating programs, they should also be created in community with our students. I think I go to PV High School, and what Mr. Robledo does with the wrestling room and turning that into a theater where all these great students have these theatrical skills, they want to get into film. I didn't really see this as a top priority for them in terms of having aviation. So I want to make sure as we move forward that we're also including the students, because when I also look at data in terms of aircraft and engineering, a lot of those jobs are going to be outset by AI. So I'm wondering, are we being really thoughtful in these programs that we're developing that are going to get these students into these positions? Engineering is huge. It's great. And I think we do need more engineers. But I also don't want to make this feel like, oh, this is the priority. You as artists, sorry, that's not a viable position. And I think with CTE programs like this, it gives that messaging to our students. So I just wanted to state that, and I hope we have better informed community decisions with our students as we're putting up these CTE programs.
Thanks for
Thank
your
you.
input. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Can I speak to that?
Trustee Turley had asked.
Can I add one thing? I do want to note that exciting for PV High School, and I don't know if you are aware, we're finally moving students out of the wrestling room for their theater, and we developed a temporary, it won't be temporary, it'll actually, well, it's a, No. Actually, we did a permanent, larger than the wrestling room, and no longer the wrestling room, so it's their own space while the performing arts is built, and we're calling it a black box. Yeah, but it is way better than the wrestling room, and they no longer have to have that, yeah. And the kids, from what I hear, they're all very, very excited. I got to go do a sneak preview of it, and they worked really hard to get done over the summer, so.
They do a lot of great work.
We are paying attention to that part too.
I was one of those drama kids, right? And I had Video Academy, and I know PV doesn't have Video Academy, and it's such a shame because there's this huge, there's a lot of Latinos who are out there that actually want to fund schools, who are doing content for a demographic like ours, and I think we're missing that opportunity by, again, shoving down STEM down our throats when a lot of us are into the creative careers. I don't see myself doing something like this, but maybe some other students do, and I think that's great. But I also don't want us to neglect the arts, because that is going to be a big money maker as AI takes over a lot of these remedial and administrative jobs or these web development. I'm a part of that generation that was told, go into STEM, you're going to have a house once you graduate. That didn't happen. All right, so be very future thinking. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Turley?
Sorry.
I'm not done.
Not
Okay,
quite
yes.
yet. So I know a young man who graduated Watsonville High in 2015. He studied a little bit of stuff that got him interested in engineering. He went to Cabrillo, went to San Jose State. Now he's an engineer at the municipal airport in San Jose. So there are definitely students who have interest, and I think engineering ends up being applicable to lots of different things. How many students are signed up for the aviation program?
25, that was the limit.
That's the capacity.
Yeah, based on the type of space they're in, and that's actually what this item is the where we worked with the airport so they can build it in a hangar, which is going to be really fun.
I think it's very exciting. Thank you so much for bringing it.
Trustee Flynn?
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for everything that you pointed out as well. I want to just, I guess, give you some solace. This is, coming from a board that is among the top 10 schools in the state of California. STEAM is really, really important. Arts are very, very important. Art's very important to me. This could lead into design. And we are building a global human race right now. And having Joby here is such an asset because of the work now that they're doing in Dubai. And so it gives our learners an opportunity, a pathway to be a part of the global community in a way that we might have been limiting them. So I'm really excited about this. I personally know the man who runs the Monterey Airport is a product of Santa Cruz High School, so Santa Cruz County, and he's running Monterey Airport, and he's Black. So it also allows for more people of color to be getting into these spaces. Again, design, and that's where they can marry art with this. So I think there's lots of connections and opportunities, especially with that connection with Joby. So I'm glad. That was my question, Trustee Turley, is how many students. So That and the tiny home thing, those are really
And they
kind
have
of
a
exciting.
relationship, those two projects, because this was also funded through a donation. So the purchase of the airplane was a $150,000 donation from Monterey Bay DART, which is a drone, like, they bring people together around aviation and drone in the Central Coast, and they got a donation from the James Irvine Foundation, specifically to promote aviation careers on the Central Coast, and they chose our school district as the place that they wanted to support and do that. And so the airplane is built, and we can either sell it and buy another kit, or we can give it back to the people that sent us the kit, and then we just pay a fee every year to just build the airplane. They just keep sending us boxes of airplanes. So.
Oh, and then one follow-up question is, those 25 students, did they elect to be in there, or were they placed in there?
And the list was about 60 kids that wanted, and believe me, it would be great to
Get it
replicate
expanded.
it. And when we hired a really incredible, young, dynamic UCSC grad who is their teacher, and it's a happening.
Yeah, can you let the instructor know that we'd love to go visit as soon as it's up and running?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Of
Thank
course. Absolutely. Thank you.
And any other comments? Trustee Carrasco?
This summer during our Camp Arte, I actually took about 130 to 140 students to the Watsonville Airport to go visit. So we sat on the lawn and we sketched helicopters and airplanes. One of the questions, I went there once a week for 6 weeks. One of the questions that I had while I was sitting there is they had told us that you can start the process of getting your flying license at 14, and then you'd be able to get it by 17 if you were to fulfill your hours and your training. So my question was, in the future, would this program extend to something like that? Not just building the airplanes, but also being able to get their licenses?
Yeah, absolutely. The hangar that we are leasing, the subletting from the city, is the EAA, and that their whole mission is to promote aviation careers to youth. So all the students are instantly members of that organization. The big mural that says "Kids Fly Free," that's their, that's their like offering to the community. So our students will have those opportunities to fly and learn. And I feel like this is going to crack open a lot of interesting avenues. So, yeah.
And will it be free? Because I know that one of the questions that I had while I was there was if there was financial, help for the students to be able to get their, license. Is that something that
Something
this
we can look
program
into.
Can look into.
Yeah, and at Aptos High School, the engineering pathway there was in its second year. At Watsonville, it's now in its second year. And we were able to help the students get their Part 107 FAA drone pilot's license last year. And so this year at Watsonville High, those second year students will have that same opportunity. And then we'll probably be looking for industry partners to help fund that, because those are a little more expensive things to help kids get certified in, but we want to get the ball rolling. So, and then just one last thing. We take 600 of our fourth graders to the airport every year. The Watsonville Airport has been very gracious, and they go for a day of aviation experience. The little fourth graders on the bus with their teachers and chaperones. And then there's an organization called the 99s Women that are retired pilots that help guide the kids around the airport to all the different businesses that are there. The people that teach people how to jump out of airplanes. Yeah, none of that. But anyway, that's every year we take 6 schools and we go on a rotation.
Yeah.
And that's another connection. So.
Does our insurance cover students jumping out of
You
airplanes?
betcha. Not dropping out. Yeah, no, not that part. Yes.
And then just one more thing, just because I am currently spending a lot of time at PV High School, and I know that one of the things that they had asked is, and I know I said this last time, in the future, could there be a construction class for them? Because there's a lot of interest for construction at PV High.
So this year, we're going to be working with sites individually to create a 3-year CTE plan for each of the sites where there's CTE happening.
Okay.
So, and that will be in conjunction with the community school specialists, the principal, teachers, students, community members, parents. And based on some of the criteria that we have for the funding that we get, which has to do with the kinds of jobs the the pathways lead to and things like that. We'll be able to craft something that's unique for each school. And then also leverage each other as much as we can as well. So that is certainly something that will be on the table to talk about.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Desi, you don't want to
Thank
say
you.
anything? Okay.
Okay, so I would like a motion.
I would like to move to approve 11.9 on the consent agenda.
Second.
Yeah.
Okay, we have trustees Salinas Holtz with the second. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion passes 6001. Thank you. I will now move us on to item 11.14, the amendment to our PVPSA contract. Trustee Navarro, you had brought this one forward.
Yeah, I was hoping maybe we can start with Dr. Contreras giving, or Heather, giving us
Good
some
evening.
more details and clarity around this.
Okay, is this on? Yes. Hi, I'm Heather Gorman, the SELPA director, and I know that in the past I've come up as the interim executive director for student support services. That was the role I was in when I put this contract back onto the board docs. So I put the contract on the board docs basically because there was an error in how the Valor program was stating that it only served Watsonville High School. And that is the only thing. There is no increase to money or funding, but they wanted to make sure and ensure that they actually served all of our high schools and middle school students. So we wanted to make sure that that change happened and that it wasn't only focused on Watsonville High School.
Just to clarify, that's the only change?
That's the only change.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Trustee Turley?
And to clarify, when we looked at the sustainable budget numbers in January, we voted to reduce PSA by $1 million, but it started at 2. So the $1 million we're talking about here is what we had agreed to. Is that correct?
Yes.
If I remember correctly, I think our contract had been the previous year for 2.5 million, or at one time had been for 2.5. And the board went to 1.1 million. So this contract is for $1 million, which was what, so there's no change to that. There's no addition to that. It is what the board authorized in January. It was only to make the adjustment to what it read, which was to service only Watsonville High School, which was inaccurate.
Yes. Yeah.
And can you please just go over a lot of the services that they offer besides just their mental health clinicians? What other services do they provide?
There are a lot of services that they provide. So specifically, I know the Valor services came up in some comments, and that service I got to know in my short term as the executive director for support to students that were expelled. And I know we don't want to have any student expelled, but usually when a student is expelled, they have a stipulated agreement that they have to follow. So the Valor mentors actually support the students and meet with them and make sure that they are within the time frame that we have, finishing their contract, doing everything that it says, and that they're ready to come back to high school, when they're done with the expulsion terms. And so they meet with them regularly, then they meet with me, and they meet with, at the end of the term, they meet with the group and the families, and then we look at, okay, is everything. So they do that. They also do Kids Corner, which is usually in our elementary sites, and they service students in for counseling services. They do emergency response services. So sometimes when we have an emergency that happens at a site, we can call PVPSA. They send mental health clinicians out to support along with our staff when there is a crisis at a school. So those are some of the services that they provide.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Trustee Medina?
Yeah, I know PVPSA is, the cool thing about them is that they're actually in both counties. They don't just service Santa Cruz, they actually service Monterey County too. And I know we're trying to work with them to expand that over there in that area. My concern is with that, we're reduced to one counselor, right, at Pajaro Middle School. Is that correct? for now. Does that mean we're going to get another one?
So it depends on what type of counselor. So I think there's been like everyone just kind of lumping in counseling.
Social emotional?
Yeah, so we have our counselors
Uh-huh.
that can do academic counseling as well as social emotional counseling.
So they're doing both.
They can do both. They're PPS credential. So I guess maybe we should say counselors with a PPS credential.
Uh-huh.
They're those counselors there in the certificated bargaining unit. We have mental health clinicians that are in the classified bargaining unit. And then we have our contracted services that include PVPSA. During, I think, kind of what happened is during COVID, when we had an influx of dollars that were designed to help mitigate the impacts of COVID, one of the areas that many districts spent a lot of money on, a lot of funding on, was in the counseling areas. So they expanded services in multiple areas.
Okay.
So mental health clinicians, counselors, certificated staff with PPS credentials, as well as many organizations that offer additional outside consulting services because the need was great.
Yeah.
PVPSA has had a very long-standing partnership with PVUSD going back like
Long time, yeah.
long time, like over 30 years. Primarily because I think what was happening in the long history of education is educators realized students needed sometimes additional services in order to be able to access their education, and that in the educational system, we didn't always have those services available, and educators didn't always, aren't credentialed for that or don't have that. So then we would look for a partnership and do that contracting. And hence, actually in this district, that's how PVPSA was born. So this is a longstanding contract. At PMS specifically, the only resource they have is not limited to just the counselor with a PPS credential. Like I've been saying, we had put things on hold right now because we didn't know how our enrollment numbers were shaping up. Today we sat with cabinet to look at, okay, what's our current enrollment? We have our enrollment and then we have our attendance. So our number of students enrolled is one thing, and it's much higher than who has come to school and attended. So as it sits right now, we have 443 less students than we had anticipated. And so where those numbers fall is what we're trying to analyze and then make our best determinations about how we staff in terms of where the need is and where those numbers are.
Okay.
So we now, I think, usually we wait, and when we look at our collective bargaining agreement, there's even language in there for the teaching staff of when we balance classes. So tonight, we even heard at like Cesar Chavez Middle School, some of the courses having overages in PE and like that, because we're still working to balance out the classes because some students showed up where maybe we didn't anticipate, or some classes are really low. And so that's a process that happens every year called balancing classes. So same thing has happened with the counseling. We had people resign over the summer, counselors resign over the summer, and we were reticent to make moves when maybe the students were also not going to be coming, and then maybe we moved someone and then it was not really an indicated move.
Okay.
So
my concern is, I know traditionally we've always had 2 counselors at Paul Harrow Middle School ever since my mama went there. And middle school is hormone palooza. The fact that you're going to put 1 counselor and not have 2 or additional support is wild to me, because that's a really important time to figure out what your emotional triggers are, to figure out how you're digesting the world,
Trustee
your
Medina,
first
really
breakup.
quick, this is a very important subject, and I agree this discussion needs to happen, but we need to keep it
Okay,
with the amendment to PVPSA
I
contract.
don't like being rushed, like Trustee Flynn doesn't. So
I'm not rushing, I'm just saying we need to, we need to keep it to PVPSA
I get that,
contract.
but thank you. If I could finish my thought, which I just lost. Yeah, so I guess the guarantee that I want to hear is that we are going to have 2 full counselors there. Because another thing that I want us to think about too is just because there's low enrollment doesn't mean that the emotional need isn't there. If students are scared right now about ICE or even coming to school, that is going to impact them more. I don't care how many heads are in there. Even if it's 10 students, we should be putting in more counselors to support those students. Especially in my area right now where it's up in the air what's going to happen moving forward. So I just ask that, you know, cool, PVPSA, but I want us to ensure that our counselors are still being there, because you can't quantify social emotional support. Like, it's hard to do that. You just need somebody there to listen, to help you navigate. And I want to make sure that that's there for my students in my area.
I think what Trustee Flores was trying to say is that
we can move on. That's fine.
I think what Trustee Flores was trying to say is that we're having a discussion on a non-agendized item, and therefore it's additional Brown Act violation, and that's what she was trying to prevent you from doing.
When did you read the Brown Act? That's good.
Okay, Trustee Flynn had a comment to make. Thank you. Okay, any other comments on this item? If not, I would like to see a motion if there is one.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a first and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining?
I'm abstaining only because it went through before I became a board member.
Okay, so that motion passes 4-0-2-1. Okay, thank you. And now I will move us on to item 11.17, our new CTE pathways and courses for 25-26. And Trustee Medina brought this one forward, I believe, 11.17.
Yes. I'm a little sad. I'm a film guy. We slashed some film programs in our VAPA coordinator. Aptos no longer has video production, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And Pajaro Valley High School, does that still have video production?
No, not at this time. Mhm.
So we've cut video production at Aptos High School. We've cut it at Pajaro Valley High School. We're establishing a film program at Cabrillo College. How does it make sense that we're cutting these two programs that I've consistently heard a lot of positive things from students about these programs? I mean, that's what got me into my master's at the top film school in the nation, because I was able to participate in Video Academy. So why are we cutting these programs and not sustaining them?
Well, the reductions that happened in the spring, CTE was impacted along with everything else. So that is all I really can say about that.
Do we plan on bringing them back?
Pardon me?
Are we going to bring them back?
If we can, we can. But right now, with declining enrollment and needing to tighten, that was, that they were a part of the whole reducing. One of the things that we did do, though, was we brought media arts and production to Renaissance High.
Yeah, but then that substituted out two other programs from Aptos and Pajaro Valley High School. And I'm glad Renaissance has it, but why don't all three of them have it?
We can't do all things right now because of declining enrollment. I mean, we can't have classes with 8 kids in them or 12 kids in them.
Is that what the enrollment was for video production? Because I've got rosters of enrollment, and they were very high. There was even some students who couldn't get into the courses. Am I being misfed the data from Ms. Ma, from the Aptos instructor as well? Because it sounds like we're coming after the arts pretty hard when we should be sustaining them.
It's not, that is not the intent at all.
It feels like it.
Well, it isn't. It was.
And then to hear that we have aerospace coming in, but we're getting rid of video production. What does that tell our art students?
Trustee Medina.
Wait. I would love to hear from.
Actually, I'm gonna pause only because I believe that's off topic.
It's Media Arts and Production Pathway, CTE pathway. We're talking about that.
But this is to approve these pathways, and I don't believe Ms. Edwards is prepared, and nor does she even have the background or anything to talk about the questions you're asking her. we can get back to you on those questions.
Well, I'm not going to be able to hear them until December 11th when you guys have me back at the board. So,
I can do
I want to have this conversation now.
I
It
don't
pertains
believe
to
we
this.
can because it's not agendized.
Mr.
and-
Lawyer Guy, can I have this because it relates to media arts and production? Uh-huh. Got it. I trust you. Okay. I would like a report on why we got rid of the video production courses. I expect that, I guess, by December when I'm back. Or if you could send that through BC comments, that would be great. But the fact that our VAPA coordinator is cut, Stephanie Monroe was moved, that was intentional, and now I'm seeing a reduction in video production programs when we actually have a really big industry in San Francisco and San Jose, and we're developing one now. So the opportunity here was completely missed by you all on this, by getting rid of those programs. And I don't believe the data that says that we had under enrollment, and I would like to see those numbers. Thank you.
Trustee Medina, I know you're super passionate about this. I would just ask that you respectfully adhere to our board policies, which
Can we move on?
is to
Thank
not
you.
interrupt, which is to not, belittle or degrade our staff.
I don't think I'm belittling. I think I'm asking actual questions. So if you can't see that, I don't know, take a rhetoric class. But in the meantime, when I'm asking something, I don't need you to comment on everything.
Okay.
Thank you.
What I'm trying to get is that our district staff often is intimidated to present these things. And so I would like you, I understand you're passionate. All I'm asking you to do
Point of order. Can we move on, please? Thank you. Point of order. Can we move on?
Trustee Medina, please stop interrupting.
Are you giving her
Yes,
permission to
we
speak?
need to move
Are you
on.
recognizing her?
We need
Cool.
to move on.
All I ask is that you're
You're not being spoken to. So thank you.
Thank you. So do we have any more discussion regarding the new CTE pathways and courses for our 2025-26 school year? No? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Julie,
for
I just want to
this.
say I appreciate you. Okay,
I'm gonna
you
do
know
it right now
we
because he
actually talk,
interrupted me.
unlike what this person's saying over here. So I appreciate you and everything that you do, and I know you love the arts because we worked on that DM1 class. And I hope that I could even get you a grant to bring back video production, if that will help the school, which I have connections to funding on that. So we'll work together on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I'm still looking for a motion. Yes?
It's going to be short, and I actually regret not commenting on the last one about aviation, but I just want to say I think these pathways are great, and I know Watsonville has a lot of them, and PV, and I'm not sure about Aptos, but doesn't have as many, so I think it's great to see these at other schools. And I personally know a lot of PV people who, I know some who'd be interested in law, and I think, and a lot in the health and wellness one, so I think it's great to see them at other schools.
Thank you.
Trustee.
And I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
Oh, I was just gonna say,
wait,
you
okay,
could,
sorry.
you could
I can
probably speak to what you wanted to say because technically engineering design flight is on this agenda item.
Oh, it was mainly in line with this, and I also personally know a lot of people who were in the engineering program with the drone certification at Watsonville, and they loved it. So I think it's great to see that at PV now too.
Thank you. Now Trustee Salinas Holtz has made a motion to approve this item. Do I have any more comments or a second?
A second.
Thank you. Now I will bring it to a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
I abstain.
Okay, motion passes 5011.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now that concludes that part of our agenda. I will now let everyone know that our next regularly scheduled board meeting will be on September 10th in our city council chambers. And I adjourn this meeting at 9:08. What? We're getting better. What? We're getting better. Well, we only had 2 action items.